Retirement, huh?
Yeah.
And maybe living alone.
Oh,
I bet it's a whole mix of emotions, right?
it really is.
Relief, maybe some fear, loneliness for sure,
Yeah.
and uncertainty. It's all part of this big change. But what if? What if this time, with all its challenges, could actually be like your best time yet?
It's interesting you say that because
Yeah.
that's what we hear from a lot of women at this point in their lives. It's like being at a crossroads.
And not knowing which way to go.
Yeah, but every path, even the ones you've never been on before, they can lead to amazing places.
That's what Susan Williams found out.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like a regular woman just like you.
Okay.
And her blog, Time for Tranquility, she talks about finding peace, finding purpose later in life. So we're going to, deep dive into her story.
Okay.
And we'll see how she used mindfulness to make this transition really smooth.
Susan's story, it really shows the power of something called present moment awareness. And it was something that Thich Nhat Hanh, that spiritual teacher, he really talked about this a lot. It's about being right here, right now, and letting go of all those regrets from the past and all those worries about what's coming next. It's like, putting down those heavy bags you've been carrying around.
And it's easy to get caught up in worries,
Uh-huh.
especially with big life changes like retirement.
For sure.
Like, what am I going to do with all this time? How am I going to handle being on my own?
Yeah.
But Susan's story shows us there's a whole other way to look at it.
That's where mindfulness comes in. And it's not about, becoming enlightened or anything mystical like that. It's just about being aware of what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and, what you're sensing in your body at this moment. Like, notice the way the sun feels on your skin.
Right.
Or how your breath, moves in and out. Those little things, those tiny moments of awareness, they can bring so much calm, even when everything else feels chaotic.
I'm feeling calmer just thinking about it. But how does mindfulness help us age gracefully? What works for Susan?
One thing she really focuses on is acceptance.
Okay.
As we get older, our bodies and minds, they change, right?
Yeah.
Mindfulness helps us accept those changes, be patient and kind to ourselves instead of fighting against what's natural. It's like instead of struggling against the music, you learn to dance to it.
I love that. It makes aging sound so much less like something's going wrong and more like something's unfolding.
Exactly.
But what about the fear of being lonely? A lot of women worry about feeling isolated, during this time.
Loneliness is a real worry, for sure. But Susan realized that living alone doesn't have to mean feeling lonely. Mindfulness, it can make being alone feel really comforting. It helps you appreciate simple things like rediscovering how much you enjoy your own company. It's like shifting your focus from what you don't have to what you do have right here, right now.
It's about being content with the everyday. Instead of wishing for the past or worrying about the future, we can choose to see the beauty in this moment. That's a powerful change in how we see things. But does that mean we should just, settle for a quiet life and sit on the sidelines?
Not at all. Susan's experience shows that getting older doesn't mean your best years are over.
Right.
Actually, it can be a chance to really get to know yourself again and create a life with purpose, a life that really matters to you. Think of it like a whole new garden.
Okay.
And mindfulness, it's the key that unlocks all its possibilities. It's exciting to think of this time as like a chance to rediscover yourself.
Total.
And to explore all those passions and interests you maybe put on hold, the things you always wished you had time for.
It is like opening up a treasure chest of dreams you forgot about and talents you didn't even know you had.
Right.
But how does mindfulness actually help us do that, tap into all that?
Well, when you practice mindfulness, you get more in tune with yourself, like your thought, feelings, what you're sensing in your body. It's like turning down the noise from the outside world and finally hearing what your own heart is trying to tell you.
So instead of being distracted by everything around us, we can finally hear what our soul is saying.
Yeah. And as you become more aware of, your inner world, you might start to notice these little nudges.
Wedges.
Yeah, like these sparks of interest that you might have ignored before. Maybe it's that feeling of wanting to be out in nature more, or, that urge to learn something new, or even a feeling like you're meant to help others.
It's like paying attention to those little whispers of inspiration and then being brave enough to follow them.
Exactly. And mindfulness, it helps you build that courage because it calms down those worries that can hold us back,
Right.
When you're more present, you don't get so caught up in worrying about what might happen or regretting what already did. You're more free to try new things and be open to whatever comes your way.
It's like mindfulness gives us permission to dream again, to believe that anything is possible, even, in our later years. But what about all the practical stuff of life, like money, health, all the things that can be hard about getting older? How does mindfulness help with that?
Well, mindfulness isn't magic. It doesn't make those challenges disappear, but it does give you more strength to face them and more peace of mind while you're doing it.
Huh.
For instance, studies show that practicing mindfulness can really lower stress. It can help you sleep better, even make your immune system stronger.
Wow, so it's not just about feeling calmer. Mindfulness actually has real benefits for our minds and bodies.
Right. And besides the physical benefits, mindfulness can help you see life in a more positive way. Like when you practice gratitude, you start focusing on what you're thankful for instead of what you don't have. And just that little shift in perspective can make you so much happier.
It's about appreciating those little joys. You know, a pretty sunset, a cup of tea, a chat with a friend, those small moments of gratitude, they can really brighten your whole day.
They really can. And the best part is, these mindfulness practices, they're not complicated. You don't need any special equipment or training or anything. You can just fit them into your daily life, even if you only start with a few minutes each day.
So what are some of the things Susan recommends for being more present? Maybe something our listeners can try right now.
One of the easiest and best practices is mindful breathing.
Okay.
All you do is find a comfy position, close your eyes if you want to, and just focus on your breath. Notice how it feels as you breathe in and breathe out.
It sounds so simple, but I bet it's hard to keep your mind quiet, especially if you're used to being busy all the time.
You're right. Our minds love to wander, but that's okay. The important thing is to just notice when your mind has drifted off.
Okay.
And then gently bring it back to your breath. Don't judge yourself, just redirect your attention. It's kind of like training a puppy.
Oh, I like that.
It takes patience and practice, but eventually you'll find it gets easier to stay focused on the present moment.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
So it's not about being perfectly still. It's about gently guiding our attention back when it wanders.
Exactly. There are other easy things you can try too, like mindful walking.
Mindful walking.
Yeah. So instead of rushing around, try slowing down and really paying attention to how your feet feel hitting the ground, the movement of your body. Notice the things you see and hear around you.
Turning an ordinary walk into something mindful. I love that. It's like finding little moments of peace in everyday life. What other practices did Susan find helpful?
She also talks about body scan meditation, which is great for accepting those changes our bodies go through as we age.
Okay.
You just lie down or sit comfortably and focus on different parts of your body, starting with your toes and slowly moving up. Notice any sensations without judging them. Just observe them curiously.
So it's about tuning into our bodies and accepting whatever we notice with kindness, like making peace with our bodies, and appreciating all they've done for us. But what about the mental and emotional stuff that can be hard about aging? How does mindfulness help with that?
That's where self-compassion comes in, and it's something we'll talk about more in the next part of our deep.
Thanks for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to Time for Tranquility, and click the notification bell for updates. Take care and stay tranquil.
So we're back, talking about aging gracefully. We've seen how mindfulness can help us, go through the changes of this time with more peace and a sense of purpose. But let's face it, life throws curveballs. How do we deal with those challenges, with grace and strength?
That's where self-compassion really comes in. It's like that gentle voice inside you reminding you you're not alone in this, especially when things get rough. Susan talks about this a lot in her blog. Treating yourself with the same kindness you'd give a good friend.
I get that. It's easy to be tough on yourself, especially as you get older. You look in the mirror and see the wrinkles, or you forget things, and you beat yourself up about it.
It happens to a lot of us. We kind of absorb all these messages from society about aging.
Right.
And it can make you feel, not good enough or even ashamed. But self-compassion, that's like the opposite of all that negativity. It's about understanding that aging is natural. And it's okay to have some bumps along the way.
So how do we actually do that? Be more self-compassionate,
Yeah.
especially when we're so used to criticizing ourselves.
Mindfulness helps a lot here. As you become more aware of your thoughts and feelings, you start noticing that inner critic, the one that's always putting you down.
Yeah, we all have that voice.
And instead of letting it take over, you can choose to be kind to yourself.
It's like stopping those negative thoughts before they, spiral out of control.
Exactly. And then replacing them with a gentler, more understanding perspective.
Right.
Imagine, you make a mistake or forget something. Instead of thinking, oh, I'm so stupid, I'm getting old, try saying to yourself, it's all right, everyone makes mistakes, I'm still learning.
Just changing the words we use, it feels so powerful, like giving ourselves a hug instead of a slap on the wrist.
Exactly. And it's not just about changing what you say to yourself, it's about taking care of yourself too.
Oh, right.
Like, are you getting enough sleep? Are you eating healthy foods? Are you doing things you enjoy? Taking care of yourself. That's a form of self-compassion too.
It's treating ourselves with the same love and care we'd give to someone really important to us. What if we're dealing with grief or loss? How does self-compassion help us then?
Grief is tough. You go through all these emotions: sadness, anger, guilt, maybe even regret. Self-compassion lets you feel those things without judging yourself.
Okay.
It's like saying, it's okay that I feel this way. I'm hurting, and that's all right.
So you give yourself permission to grieve.
Yes. You acknowledge your pain and give yourself the time and space to heal.
And as you practice self-compassion, maybe the pain starts to ease up a little, and then there's room for growth, for healing.
Exactly.
This has been such an amazing look at aging gracefully. We've learned so much from Susan about how mindfulness and self-compassion can really change how we experience this part of life.
It's incredible to think that no matter what happens, we can always choose to be kind to ourselves and to others.
As we wrap up our deep dive today, I want to leave you with this thought. What's one little thing you can do to be kind to yourself today? Maybe it's taking a few minutes to just enjoy a cup of tea, listen to some music, or just letting yourself rest. Remember, you deserve love and care just as you are. Embrace this next chapter with grace, courage, and an open heart.
Thanks for watching. Please like this video, subscribe to Time for Tranquility, and click the notification bell for updates. Take care and stay tranquil.